Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very important concept in chess. This is delay your opponents from castling, if not just stopping them. A king in the center is a very vulnerable piece and allows you really good attacking chances. If your opponent is wasting time in the opening and not making accurate moves, you can stop them from castling by making constant threats. In this game, I was playing against a strong international master. Unfortunately for them, they were not heeding against this rule or following it, and they ended up getting into a bad position. As you can see, their king was unable to castle. But before we get into that, let's go and start from the beginning. So here we go. I was playing the white side of this, and my opponent chose to play the Pirc. So I went e4, d6 the Pirc. Pawn to d4, 2 pawns in the center is never a bad idea. Knight f6 attacks the pawn, knight c3 defends the pawn, and here they went ahead and played pawn to e5. Against this e5 move, I've started playing my own line here, and I like to play pawn to f4. It's an interesting idea here. I'm always hoping my opponent will take on f4, and after bishop takes, I'm in a very good position. I have 2 pieces out, 2 pawns in the center. They've only got 1, and well, it's reminding me of a king's gambit, which I like to play as white, and so, well, I'd be very happy here. Unfortunately for me, most of the strong players I play this against, they go ahead and take on d4. So queen takes on d4. I'm not too sad with this. I have 2 pieces out, and I've got 2 good pawns in the center. Here, the knight went to c6 to attack the queen, and here I usually bring the queen back to f2. I used to look at queen to e3 instead, but there's many moves that black can try here. They have like knight b4, threatening knight takes c2. They have knight g4, harassing the queen. So here, I just go ahead and play the queen back to f2 with the idea of g3 or h4 in the future. Black went ahead and played d5, a very good move. Here, I went ahead and played pawn to e5. Taking on d5 is definitely not a good move because after knight takes, well, where's my pawn center? I just lost it, and black is already better in this position. The f-pawn is actually a weakness in these lines. So here, I went ahead and played e5. And like I said, computer doesn't like this as much, but well, my opponent didn't play the right move here anyways. They went ahead and played knight to e4. A very aggressive move here, forking my queen and my knight. I played the most logical move. I just traded knight takes, pawn takes, and then here I played bishops to b5 here. The previous game I had played against this strong international master was bishop c4. But here my opponent found a beautiful idea, queen to d4, and this pretty much forces the queens off the board. Why? Well, if you play queen e2 like I did in the previous game, I lost very fast after bishop b4 check. Pawn c3, and they took on c3 here. And if you take, well, you're just going to be losing a rook. So that's why I played the bishop over to b5 here. As queen to d4, well, I'll just take for a free queen since it's a pin. So they saw this idea. Of course, they're not going to give me a free queen for nothing, and played bishop d7. But this is already on the wrong path. Remember, we're trying to delay or stop our opponent from castling by making consistent threats. A better move here, obviously, was just to bring the bishop out, e7, maybe even b4 check, but basically castle as soon as possible. Here, bishop d7 got played. I went ahead and played knight to e2, a logical move. The knight doesn't want to go to h3 as bishop takes and give double pawns. And, well, f3 just loses, right? So here, knight to e2. Here they played a6. Do you want to trade off your light square bishop for this knight? Of course not. This is a great bishop here, so we don't want to trade this bishop off for a knight. Here, black played knight to b4. Here, black is again just playing a little too risky here. The knight does come with a threat of threatening to take on c2, check here, but here we can easily be defended. And here I went ahead and played bishop to b3. The computer likes knight c3, and I can definitely see that this does look like a good move here too, but there's nothing wrong with playing the bishop back to b3. Also, it's a good idea to always have your pieces being protected, and so now the pawn's going to protect the bishop, so I feel a lot better about this. Black is very aggressive and plays bishop to b5, a move that, well, I'm not really too scared of. Again, it's delaying them from castling. And here, well, if they want to trade off the bishop for the knight, I'd be more than happy to take the bishop pair. So here, I'm not going to delay. Let's go ahead and castle. Get your king to safety as soon as possible here. Black went ahead and played pawn a5. An interesting idea. What's black's idea? Here, they're definitely wanting to play pawn e4 and trap this bishop. So what do you play here? You like a4 pawn attacking the bishop and then going ahead and controlling more squares, or playing pawn a3 for the escape square for the bishop and also attacking the knight. Here, I always like to be as aggressive as possible, so I played pawn to a4. Here, the question is black going to take the knight or not? Again, you see how every move is making a threat, every move is making progress. Here, black is already on move dear Lord, 14, and they have not gotten ready to castle yet. The bishop retreated back to a6. They're more than welcome to take the knight. Like I said, queen takes, and I'm very happy. And here, well, let's develop our next piece. It's the bishop. Bishop goes to e3. Makes sense on a great square. And black went ahead and played bishop to e7. It looks like black is finally ready to castle. But here we can keep developing pieces, and we can keep making threats. What do you play here? All right, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking this video is going to help grow the channel and share this with more chess players. All right, what do you play here as white? Here, I went ahead and played rook after d1 here. I did this for two different ideas. Well, first off, you could play the rook a to d1, but I like the rook after d1 here because the bishop was pinning my knight, right? I couldn't move the knight without losing the rook. And I want to develop the rook with a threat, so the rook comes out to attack the queen, and now my knight is able to move to a better square. Well, the queen went to c8, and here I found that move to delay castling even further. I went ahead and played knight to c3. How does this delay? Well, if they castle now, they're going to lose their pawn on e4. And I'll take a free pawn. My opponent, of course, not wanting to lose a pawn, played queen to f5, but now the queen's out a little too early. Again, always make moves, keep harassing. Each move is going to keep making threats and delay them from castling. h3. Wait a second, how does that stop them from castling? Well, if they castle now I can play pawn to g4, and if they bring their queen back to g6, I can play pawn to f5, and I've got a very good position, plus I'm going to be winning this e4 pawn. Ugh, of course, black did not like these ideas and played pawn to h5. A very direct idea, stopping g4 in its tracks. But here I was able to find the move that stops black from castling altogether. Here I went ahead and played bishop c5, a very simple move. What's the idea? Well, I'm attacking the bishop. This is an idea you should definitely remember because, well, if they castle, you simply just take. And just like in the game, if they go ahead and take on c5, well, queen takes on c5, and now the queen is on the diagonal and stopping them from castling yet again. So here, my opponent, well, they just went ahead and played pawn to b6. And I'm very happy. Bishop takes on e7, king takes on e7. The king is now uncastled, and now we can start getting our pieces into the middle game and try to keep making those weaknesses and attack. And here my opponent gets into a very bad position very fast. In fact, at this point, it's already +4, meaning I'm basically up an extra rook here. 4.6, almost 5 points for an extra rook. Here, well, let's keep bringing on more pieces. I need to get this rook into the game, which means I want to bring the rook either to d1 or e1. So here it was a very simple idea for me. Rook to d4. What's this do? I'm going to get a free tempo by attacking the pawn on e4, but the big idea was to play rook a to d1. Here my opponent knows how important it is for king safety, so they went ahead and played rook h to d8. The kingdom is not worth a pawn here. I can win the pawn now, but, well, I would have preferred the attacking chances if they had just played, I don't know, is there any good way to defend the pawn? Yeah, probably bishop b7. But after doubling of the rooks, I would love my position there. So, rook takes on e4. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? If it's a free pawn, take the free pawn. Rook d7 got played, and this is definitely a blunderous move. Here I did not play the best move. Can you find the move that I missed? Here I played a little too fast and played rook over a to e1. But it's white to move. What do you play here to open up this king? Just remember, guys, when you're attacking your opponent's king, you need open files and diagonals. Simply said, make pawn trades. Here the best move was e6 here, forking the rook and also the pawn, and also opening up the file for this rook here too. Here black would have nothing better than pawn takes, and bishop takes on e6 is definitely going to be very bad for them in this position. Like I said, I missed this idea, so I just played the rook over to e1. They played king f8, and here I was able to still find the idea, pawn to b6. What's good in one variation is usually good in many variations. e6 is a very strong move here. Obviously, again, do not take. Bishop takes, we'll go ahead and fork them. So here, rook to e7 got played. I took on f7 here. You can see that now this bishop has just made a very strong pawn here that, well, they probably should look about just trading the rook for the pawn, because this guy is just going to be so strong that we're going to end up getting checkmate or winning material very fast here. The game ended thusly. Rook takes on e4, rook takes on e4, rook over to d8. The idea now is I'd like to get the rook to e8 check so that I can promote with the queen. So simple chess. Queen to e3, rook e8 check was being threatened. Queen to d7 got played. King to h2, nice and slow here. There's definitely some checking ideas, and so I just moved the king off over here. Bishop back to b7, attacking the rook. Rook over to e5, attacking the pawn. An easy idea is just to actually get to the h file. Winning a pawn is nice, but the real idea is trying to get to the h8 square. Queen went to c6, threatening checkmate on g2. Queen to g3, h4. Of course, do not take the pawn here on h4, or it's going to be very embarrassing when you get checkmated in 1. So, simple chess, just queen went to g4. Bishop c8 attacking the queen, and this took the bishop off the diagonal for threatening checkmate. So here I just played queen takes on h4, and now there's too many mate threats here, too many threats just in general, and here my opponent can pretty much resign. They did play rook to d2 here, and they lost the game immediately, but there really wasn't too much they can do. I have queen h8 checkmate threat, queen e7 checkmate, queen takes rook over here. Again, there's just too many ideas in this position. Rook d2 got played. I ended up playing the queen to e7 checkmate. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. This whole idea is about delaying your opponent from castling for as long as possible. Then, once you delay them, you can hopefully stop them from castling altogether, or then find another weakness for you to attack. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.